Friday, or is it the 17th?
17th, sorry.
So next Friday, not this Friday, but next Friday.
Yeah, week from Friday.
Week from Friday. Week from this Friday.
2 days.
Yeah, no problem.
It sounds like a conversation I have with my wife all the time. It's this Friday, not next Friday.
Mayor, council members, it's really a pleasure to be here tonight. And you might actually want to see my face for once, which is kind of weird, being on the side of the table. Anyway, thank you for your time. I'm going to walk through, so I've drawn nothing. I'm not going to draw anything until I hear from you, because I really want to pick your brains. Always smart. I've learned. No, you never have, no. Does this thing work? Probably need to turn on the, here we go. Okay. As you know, the new park, Patriot Park, half of it's developed, half of it's not. About 100 acres total, 30 acres existing ball fields, about 25 acres of existing planned civic space, and a 45-acre piece that's not planned, or we're going to refine it. I'm going to run through your wish list. I'm going to hear what you have to say about all of these. We're going to run through some examples of some facilities and show you scale relative to this site. So city facilities. I'm going to look at two local analogs, the Harriman City Hall and the Sandy City Hall, and show you what they look like relative to this site. So this is the Harriman City Hall Municipal Complex, and you can see there on the left-hand side in the bottom corner, I don't have an updated aerial photograph, but that's the City Hall building. You see the building in black there, and the parking consumes the blue rectangle, and the recreational facilities to the south of that building are in red. If we superimpose that over our site, that's how big it is. That's a very large campus. If we dropped the you see, I read your mind. If we drop the red facility, that's what you're looking at. You're looking at about a 230-foot long building by 130 feet wide. So, and then parking around it. The Sandy City Hall, you can see the building there in black, the parking facility in blue, and their expanded campus is in red. Superimposing that on the site, that's about how much of your site it would consume. We rotated there, that's about how far it would extend.
It's really relatively the same.
Relatively, they're almost identical in size, those two facilities. Harriman City Hall, is it 3 or 4 stories tall?
It's 2 stories.
2 stories.
Yeah, it's only 2 stories. It has no basement.
Sandy
But they
is
did
3.
plan to expand on the outside, so on the outside of that parking, they have space to expand. So because right now their court and police facilities are inside the building. When they expand, they'll put the court and the police on one side, and they can expand and make another building on the other side as well.
We've already kind of done that.
And that's what we're doing already. Yep.
So-
Different order.
Yeah, exactly.
This facility, this City Hall building, are you interested in 3 or 4 stories? We kind of talked about
Yes, 4, go.
4 stories.
Oh, can I?
Yeah.
Go ahead. We've all talked about
We've all talked about this, but one of the things we really want to do is we really want to facilitate and kind of start the higher, I guess, the taller buildings in our business park area. We figure if we can do that, then that will help other developers realize that, yes, we actually do want to do this in our higher density areas and our higher intensity use areas. And along with that, we figure that if we do 4 stories now, or however tall we're going to go, then we can, if we have floors that we're not using, we can rent them out in the interim. We can just leave them empty, whatever we need to do, but we can use that space in a multitude of ways. And then when it becomes time to build a different building, we can then go to that or fill it up however we need to.
We can do a roller rink
A roller rink through it?
on the 2nd floor.
Sweet.
So
Yeah.
that being said, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea of the floor plate? How big of a building? Are we talking this size building? Go 4 stories.
Big enough to support our city at 120,000.
Okay. So it's probably that footprint.
South Jordan did and have to build a 2nd city hall.
Right.
Right.
That is the worst
Yeah.
scenario to be in.
Right.
So I would rather take the 2 city halls and put them on top of each other and then, like I said, lease it out or whatever. And then also the top floor, we want to make sure that we have good seating area. This is actually a pretty good model, right? Because they don't have windows, they put the rooms around the courthouse itself, so. But up high,
There's like.
on the side windows of that one side, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I understand your point, security.
Yeah, I just
That
would
makes
rather
sense.
not. Like Provo, I mean, I've been to some city council chambers, they're really nice, and there's not much in terms of windows. We can put in the UV light bulbs or something.
We don't want to spend that much time in that room anyway.
Got to keep people happy when they come right in. So.
Yeah,
But roughly the Sandy size.
Sandy's, Harriman.
It's almost a similar footprint.
They're
yeah.
almost the same building. Okay.
But like, yeah, I mean, you look at South Jordan, because really South Jordan, in terms of population, in terms of a lot of the things, we're going to be similar in that, you know, where they've had to build that other huge building and just kill a lot more of their open space.
What about parking? How much parking should we be planning on?
Well, I would like to
That's-
leverage parking that would.
I would
that the
overpark.
baseball
Just
fields
spill
could-
over into
so
the school-
baseball
into the
fields
ball
can steal
fields?
from it, a potential rec center can steal
So
from
a
it.
shared parking concept.
Yeah. I'd prefer to see us overparked now for
That was
future
my
growth.
concern is not necessarily for the city hall itself, but we're next to a lot of things that are gonna get a lot of use.
High
all at
intensity
once.
uses.
And, you know, when they have a tournament, we don't want them to be parking out on Fourth South. We want them to be able to park.
I thought it was interesting, at the opening, everyone wasn't parking in the parking spots. We had all these parking spots in the back, and everyone was parking on Fourth instead of, so when we have big events, recreation-wise, we need to make sure that there's ushers.
Signs
We should have had, just like we
parking
do
back
at Fall Festival, we really should have had it at this. I wasn't anticipating a great turnout. I was really pleased. We had like 2,300, 2,500 people. But even at those, we always need to tell people, parking, there's more parking, because the people were parking way down by the Stake Center and walking over because they didn't realize there was all these spots in the
Several
back.
All the way
spots
around.
in the back.
Yeah. But absolutely, the shared parking is definitely the direction we want to
Okay.
go.
Great.
Well, I think as we get more built out too, so eventually we'll have a transit line just to the north of this area, and I assume there'll be a stop in that area. So as we grow, as we become more urban in this area and have that transit stop, then we could take some of those parking spots if we didn't need them and put that
Phase
into
them out.
building, phase them out as we get.
yeah.
I just don't know if we'll ever really, with the ballpark, I don't know if we'll ever really get to that point, but we might.
So
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, with City Hall, you've got the parking area kind of long. I'd rather see it run more.
Interior?
Yeah, interior towards, between the ballpark and City Hall, and save the other areas usable space for other, rather than that little wedge.
Okay.
Well, and then we also were talking, the entrance between the police station, courthouse, and city hall, having a nice entrance to that, so that it's not, so with an island in the middle with trees, and so it's definitely a more
Like,
welcoming,
More inviting.
a little bit like South Jordan.
South Jordan, I like their entryway. It's very nice.
They have, you know, with the benches even, and they've even made it so it's sittable, right? As a, almost like a
Wanted to be
park,
welcoming.
almost like a park in there.
But they have like stores along the side.
And they have the stores, we
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have the stores. but-
Right.
Harriman's planning for stores along around their park area also.
Where's that?
Around their.
Yes, go ahead, Stephen.
I was just gonna say, maybe one thing you could look at is reserving a small structure for 10, 15 years down the road for a parking structure that doesn't take up so much space.
For a vertical parking structure, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we could definitely do that down the road.
Very good.
That'll give you the ability to.
Yeah.
Okay. I understand that you are
We
in
have a
favor
design.
of a Victorian style.
Well, we would like to continue our style that we've done with the police station and
Okay.
courthouse. We want to keep that same look and
Okay.
feel.
So
So it
mimic
looks like a
that.
campus.
Okay, mimic that more than introducing
Correct.
something from London.
Yeah.
But the thing is that allows for a nice entrance. So like some of these with the bell, not saying we want to do a bell tower, that's expensive, but like it would still, that design that the police station and
So you're
courthouse has
highlighting
the
the
potential
entrance.
to do something nice in
I
terms
mean,
of.
Okay.
of these, I was looking at these while we were talking, and of them, the Presidio County Courthouse is the one that I think matches the
Closest.
Closest, but
closest.
it's not, yeah,
But yeah, I think that's our intention is
to
we
match.
wanted, we spent a lot of time talking about the police station because we want that theme to
Consistency.
carry through the entire.
So it looks like a campus, right?
Okay. Yeah, because Victorian architecture is not exactly the most affordable.
No, I'm-
Right.
It's very ornate, very
Yeah.
detailed.
we went more Newport actually with the water, and so if you see that, those are designs, it has
Okay,
a,
we'll look at that.
it's nice. I think
Okay.
it's nice.
I threw this on because it's
Yeah,
really
that's. an
most
expensive-
classic.
Can you imagine rebuilding that building?
Yeah,
right now?
we could not have, no one could afford to build this building today.
How much is it Notre Dame? They're saying $10
Billion.
billion to fix Notre Dame.
Yeah, or more.
Such a tragedy. Okay, hot springs.
Because the worker didn't have, he didn't unplug his.
Oh, God.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but there's really only about 24 improved hot springs on the planet. So you'll be in very rare company,
Well, our city is called Saratoga Springs, so it makes sense, right?
right?
To
It
be
makes
unique.
sense.
And we like to, if you haven't noticed, we like to be unique.
You do. This is a great, I mean, this is a great opportunity. There's not very many places that can pull this off, and I think you have a great location here.
Yeah.
This is a Blue Lagoon. This is in Iceland. And it's a very large facility. People come from all over the world to visit it. That's the footprint of their facility. So we can go really big.
So we're looking at on the other side, because we have a hot spring on the lake side. It's
On
next
the-
to
on the
Inlet
lake
Park.
side?
Yeah.
Question is, do you want to, can we put structures on that side of the road?
Yes,
We
so
own
our
them.
agreement that we had with the county when we took over Inlet Park is it has to remain there for recreation. So as long as it's recreation-based and it's open to the public, I mean, it doesn't mean it has to be free, it can obviously have.
We can charge a fee if we
Fees
need
or
to.
whatever else, but as long as it's recreation-based, we absolutely can put structures on that.
Very good.
And then we need to somewhat work with Forestry, Fire, and State Lands as well, because the actual existing ponds that are there are technically on Forestry, Fire, and State Lands land, but we have, but we could, yeah, but we
They
can.
would let us pump it.
we
You could pump the
work with
water
them.
into
So
the
just so you know, if you
facility.
take that huge footprint and you move that over, you actually have the space, because south of the green grass is all ours too. on the
Okay,
far
so
right.
it extends much further to the south.
Yes.
Have all of that marshy woodland area that's south of the green grass on Inlet Park.
This footprint is the largest
Right.
hot springs footprint in the world, so.
I'm not saying that we
Not-
want to go
need
that
to
big.
go that big?
I'm not saying we want to go that big, but it would fit on the land we have.
Well, fancy you asked that question. Here's Lava's Hot Springs right here. There's their footprint, and that's how it fits, so.
So that would fit
It's-
beautifully.
that'd
over
fit
on the-
really, really
over on
well.
the right
Really
side.
easily.
We'd have to be really careful about how we deal with automobile conflicts and crossing that street.
Yeah.
Between the two pieces, but
Well, we have
That's-
parking lots on both ends of the Inlet Park, and
it's a much more appropriate scale, I think. This is Ojo Caliente Hot Springs. There's their footprint, and that's how big it is. So somewhere between Lava Hot Springs and Ojo Caliente.
that includes all their parking and everything,
Right.
right? Yeah.
What does Ojo or the one in Iceland have as far as buildings comparative? Because I know Lava Hot Springs, but I've not been to those other two. What do they have in
Maybe we should do
comparison?
a
I think you need to do a site visit, a tour. Of course, they have
That's what the
restroom
state
facilities and
legislature-
it's like, I think there's shops.
Okay,
So I don't think anybody stays there. I don't think they have any board, any lodging, but
More like
it's
concessions.
concessions and, yeah.
Because we've played with the idea of having camping, maybe like a KOA type
well, especially
thing.
one of the things with our sports complex being right there, we know,
RV
especially with
hookup.
tournaments, they bring their RVs in a lot of times so that they are there, they're kind of have their team's home base. And so somehow fitting
Providing a
some of
space
that
for that.
between the hot springs and that might, if we can somehow fit some of that in maybe.
So, because I actually think that Lava Hot Springs is about the size that we were thinking. And so that would actually fit to the right of the park, and then all of that brown grass that's south of the browner dirt area. That's the part that we were actually thinking of maybe partnering with a public-private co-op or something, a KOA, basically hookup. If we have RV hookup, because Spanish Fork has a very nice baseball complex, we now have a nicer one.
Yes.
Theirs is very nice, but their trailers, they park in the parking lot.
Oh, really?
And so
They
that's
take a
not
lot of
ideal.
space.
5 parking spots.
And so it kills a lot of their parking, but that's what they've had to do to be competitive. If we are able to have KOA or some kind of hookups here, an RV park, we would then become the premier Northern Utah.
Beautiful. How many
Location.
hookups we talking about?
Well, space-wise, let's look at the space.
You know, I don't know what we get when we bring tournaments in. We
Yeah,
have to kind of
I
talk
would-
to
I would
people.
think we'd have to talk to other cities to see how many RVs they usually have show up at their.
I think if we have a hot springs here as well, you're gonna have people who aren't even coming for the baseball to
Right,
now
you
camp
have
at
dual,
this.
yeah, a dual draw
But something
situation.
that we've talked about as the council is, that's not really something that, as a city, we want to run.
we run
We don't
and
want to manage
partner.
or that. So we'd be
Would you
partnering with
privatize
somebody
it?
like the
Yeah.
park, there, when you go in, you do
Camp
the Reserve
World.
America or whatever, or Camp World, or
Or even,
the KOA or whoever,
yeah,
something
KOA
like that.
Recreation Utah. even.
So it's not
Contracted out to
long-term like
somebody.
KOA
Even
for
Recreation
years and
Utah.
years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Recreation.gov Utah would actually be a partner potentially.
But it would definitely be all short-term, no living on
No.
site.
You have like, I think it's a 1 week minimum. I mean,
Maximum.
maximum, sorry, 1 week maximum, one night, yeah. And then day use.
Great. Now, were you contemplating a recreation facility?
We'd
Kind
like to
of.
leave a space for one.
Okay,
Yeah.
here we go. We've got some big ones. So this is Provo City Rec Center. It's 160,000 square feet. This is one of the largest in
It's a
the region.
beautiful rec center. If you've never
Beautiful.
been, it is
3-story,
absolutely
it's
amazing.
beautiful. That's how big it is. So
Wow.
it's a massive, massive footprint
With all their parking, yeah.
with all the parking.
Still.
This is West Valley City.
Theirs is a big
is
one, too.
about 107,000 square feet
Include
of
their
building.
baseball fields though, right?
No, that's just
Okay.
the building, and you can see that there it is, and that's how big. So
So that-
a very, very large building.
Closer, yeah.
That's a huge facility too.
It's huge. And this is the Draper Senior Center. It's about, I think it's a 35,000 square foot building. And that's how much, they actually have a little, they have, I think they, I've not been in their facility. They have a little fishing pond in the back.
Salt Lake
And
County has an advantage because they get
Right.
county funding.
Well, I'm just, if we're apples to apples,
Yeah.
I don't think that what people are envisioning when they talk about a rec center
Is
is
a senior
center.
community, yeah.
Right.
Well,
I
yeah.
was more looking for scale of building
Yeah.
than
I'm just,
the program.
Did you look at Lehigh's at all?
I did not.
but,
Because I think
if we're
that's
gonna
just-
build it, we also want it to be functional and,
Right.
I worry about going from
Would you do-
107,000 square feet to 35,000 square feet.
Would-
That's-
Would you want to,
Yeah.
Big range.
would you want to duplicate the aquatics in the rec facility if you have the hot springs? Or are they,
I don't know.
Part of me would like to say, we've got the hot springs, we would like to be different. I would love to just really amp that up. But we've heard residents say that they want a pool, and like an indoor pool.
okay?
So I
But
think
the
that's
thing is,
something,
they always say it, but when we do the polls, it's always low.
yeah.
I
The-
think it's more the basketball, indoor pickleball, indoor basketball, that kind of stuff.
It could be.
Gym,
The gym
exercise,
I think.
indoor track.
Well, and the other thing to realize
lot
is that
cheaper.
we're kind of leaving a place marker for this, but this is definitely something that's going to go to a vote. The residents are going to have to say, yes, we're going to do this with the knowledge that it's going to be this much of an increase in taxes, et cetera, et cetera. So this is not something that will
We're
just
gonna vote on.
pop up
Yeah.
and happen within the next couple of
Right,
years.
but we want to make sure the master plan
But there's
accommodates
space
it,
for
so
it.
there's space for
Can you
it.
show me the West Valley footprint again, please?
Yep.
So,
Yeah, pools, indoor pools, the hot spring areas, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
They have that up
Just
at
put a big retractable roof,
Midway.
You put a bigger what?
big retractable roof. Can't be.
and so Mark, if you can help me, our
And the astronaut.
police is really, we would, if we did this, there'd be no room for the city hall building anymore, right? I'm just saying for scope and scale.
Well, we'd have to rotate it. We'd have to really move
Put up
things
a little
around.
bit.
We'd have to pivot it, we have, I mean, again, we're not sure we want to do a half moon.
No.
Right. But
We could take the same footprint and we could move it into more of a trapezoid that works on that site with this. And I think
Up into the
Can I-
corner more.
makes it work.
My thought is, we're looking at just everything linear on Old Saratoga Road. Could we put the rec center up in the northwest corner so that the ball fields flow into the soccer fields, flow into the walking trails versus park buildings, parks?
That's a great
Do they
point.
have to be in a line?
No, that's a great point, and I think strategically, you'd want to kind of balance the use, not so heavily on one side, so you're just concentrating all the attention on one portion of
most-
the park.
It's kind of like what West Jordan did here, is you see the ball field, the quads on the edges of the recreation center. So again, it's kind of that balancing act. And so, again, you tell him what size option you're looking for, and then he can play with the site.
I'm just looking at this, and to your point, we already have the police station going down that lower corner, and, we could change the shape of that and squish it up or whatever and fit the city hall. But we wouldn't have room for a standalone library, so we would have to anticipate.
I thought we were putting the
I want the
library in
library
City
in
Hall.
City Hall.
And that's fine, but then as we're designing city hall, we need to make sure we have enough room for a full-size library as
Library.
well as a full-size city hall.
Okay.
I'm fine having it in the same building,
Yeah.
we need to make sure we're planning to have a 120,000 person citizen
Library
library as well
and-
as a 120,000 person
Staff.
Staff.
staff and
I mean,
not
and
120,000
obviously
staff
what's nice
members.
about this location is Public Works is right around the corner,
Yeah.
right? And we're expanding that building right now, so it's not like we have to have every employee in this facility.
Right.
But it's gonna be a lot more than we have now.
Right.
And we could even maintain this facility and still have this be a satellite.
Kind of like the annex is now.
Yeah, sort of like have this be like another, one of the main departments or something.
So are you laying this out with one more quad and then multi-purpose fields? Two?
Yeah,
I think our program at 120,000 is going to need one more set of quads,
It needs the quads and it needs the.
and we need the
recreational.
do
multi-purpose
you want
fields.
full-size quads, or do you want
Just similar to.
some, just like those?
You've got our
We have
concept
two
layout
sides.
for this
Yeah, I do.
second
Maybe a
phase?
little deeper outfield for the older groups.
Okay,
On those rec centers, you said the Provo Rec Center is 3 stories. What are the other rec centers? What's the West Valley Rec Center?
I believe they're two.
Two.
They're two-story buildings.
And
That's
Provo
why this one looks
recently
more
revamped.
sprawling.
Provo was much smaller, and they
Right.
did a huge overhaul, and now they're doing their city hall, because they didn't plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, will there be any lodging, hotels?
I
I think
can't
we'll do more of
resort.
the KOA approach, and we'll allow a private entity to come in if they want to put in a hotel or something. That's me. I don't really want to get in the hotel business.
Okay, then disregard the next few slides. We'll just move on.
But they're pretty.
But I honestly believe that if we put in that KOA and we upgrade the hot springs, you will see land being purchased not too far away for some kind of resort hotel.
I think the only thing that might change is perhaps up on the North Shore area. There might be something up there that we want to do
Next to our marina.
next to the marina. There might be something up there, not necessarily
Okay.
in this particular area, but maybe up on the North Shore.
But I
Yeah,
would
I'll
want a
get there.
partner.
We're going to migrate over there
Oh,
in a second.
absolutely.
I
Oh,
would,
yeah,
I
yeah,
would
yeah.
rather say, here's the land partner, lease agreement, you guys
Or
manage
buy it
this,
out
or
or
you buy it
whatever,
from
yeah.
us.
Yeah,
I don't want to
Actually,
get into
lease agreements.
financing.
yeah, however.
Okay, so at least one more quad. What else is on
What a
your
lazy
wish
river.
list for the park program elements? What other things are you,
That is
that I
awesome.
need to consider? Here's some examples.
You know what I love, you guys, is that we have, and I don't want to, we didn't talk about splash pad. Because let's be different, let's other people do the splash pad, because we don't have to. We can do cool hot springs, and just seeing that lazy river down the road, they could put a lazy river in and make us unique, because why just do a splash pad like the other 7 cities around us?
So no splash pad?
I personally,
Okay.
This is something that was mentioned to me by somebody, and I haven't talked to any of the other council members, but it was an interesting idea. One of the cities to the north, I can't remember, it's Riverton or Harriman or one of those. In their park, they created a trail that can be turned into an ice rink during the winter.
That's Harriman.
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 It's an ice ribbon.
So, yeah.
ice ribbon, yeah.
That might be something that would be interesting, so that the park, I don't know where it would go, or how we would do it, or if it's feasible, or what it costs. It's just something that I've had a few people say, oh, I went up and did this thing in Harriman, I guess it was.
Yeah.
They're
That's
really
really
not
neat.
that expensive, because when they're doing the tests on the fire hydrants, they dump the water. I don't know if that's what Harriman does. Another city, they use their fire hydrant to fill their
The rink.
their
That's
rain.
not what they do.
Yeah, because that's how they save a ton of water. And then it's just a really high curbing on the
Yeah,
sidewalk.
so in Harriman, they have it as, they've
It's
got
got
the high
like-
curbing in parts of it,
Mm-hmm.
but then in the summertime, it's dry, you can skate on it or whatever. They also have an actual splash area that goes through it, little river that runs through it. But then in the wintertime, they put these huge big, like the big ship ropes
Mm-hmm.
up there, and then they fill it up and ice it over. They got their Zamboni out there and everything else, so
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit different system perhaps,
I
but.
ju-
We
it's
could
just-
plan-
I would like to see that this area gets used year-round, possibly, rather than it just being a 6-month city amenity.
Well, our hot springs can be used year round.
Right, so they're gonna be out there, you need someplace to relax after you
So they
fall
could go
on
from the
ice
hot
4 or 5
springs and then
times.
ice. Ice.
I would do the ice and then the hot springs. to
At the
soothe
same
my
time, we've also
bruised
got the
rear.
lake right there, and again, we've got that North Marina. Right now, in our South Marina, we've got kids that go out and ice skate, and they ice fish and everything else out there, so we don't necessarily even need to do it
Formal, maybe.
formal, but we could actually have an area just on the lake where we set it aside for ice skating.
I definitely
that's what
like
you're
the
talking
big,
about, additional
I definitely like the big rope
The big
idea,
ropes?
because that's how you can sort of mark off the demarcation of this is the space to stay within.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's possible. Again, I think where we've got the lake, it's kind of nice to be able to use that. I mean, Harriman doesn't have the advantage of
Right.
being
And
on
we
an
don't have to-
awesome lake.
And we don't have to build a lake, right?
And we don't have to build a lake.
Right.
Yeah.
And
And it
maintain
freezes over.
Yeah, and it freezes over. So I think if we can, I personally think if we can use the lake more for those kinds of things,
That's
it would
fine.
make more sense.
I-
Okay, fire pits, I mean, fire pits, hammock places,
By the lake, maybe, I don't know, but.
Maybe.
Pavilions.
I would say no to
picnic
the fire
areas.
pits, because people there for the baseball and that don't want to
Okay.
smell 100 campfires.
Well, that's what I was saying, like more over by the marina or something, but that's kind of like, you'd have that almost like in a campground,
Well, the KOA would have potential for
yeah.
fire pits.
So one thing that we also need to kind of consider, and maybe Greg's can get there, is with SFFL, they've got a large property that they have over there for the Overland Bank that's right adjacent to the marina, the North Marina. And so there's some possibilities to expand some recreation amenities into that as well. So
That would be more the camping up on the marina,
there's
Yeah.
some things that we can contemplate.
more of the
as we dig into
fire
that as
pits.
well.
Yeah.
Well, and along with that, I think the continuity between the areas is going to be really important. I'm sure you'll probably get to this, but I really would love to look at getting some kind of a pedestrian
Trails
trail system, and it's going to have to be
with a bridge.
an actual a bridge or not the docks, what are they called? The
Piers?
the
floating-
walkways, the floating, like.
Boardwalks?
Boardwalks, thank you. Sorry,
Across
my
the-
brain
basically across
just
the
was-
river
Well,
part.
yeah, because you can go from Inlet Park across to that island that's there by the pump stations.
marina.
Over to the marina and have a little bit more connectivity through that area.
Ideally, you'd be able to walk from one end,
As soon
from
as you connect it,
baseball
then you
fields all
now
the
say
way
you
to
have a
there.
200-acre park, because if they're not connected, you can't count it as that.
Yeah.
Right.
I like that
There are
idea.
some
I like
really
that
good
too.
opportunities for connectivity through there.
Yeah.
Making sure that it's really one big park feel.
And we're
all focused on the
talking
lake.
theoretically, people, we're not talking,
Dreaming right now.
Yeah, this is our big dreaming
we're dreaming.
session, and then
This is- then we get
someday
to the
down the
reality
road,
of
we
stuff.
will look at funding and what we're actually going to
We'll
do.
still have
crash
our
your
park.
world when the price tag comes in.
Yeah,
because we still have our park in the south.
That's when reality always hits, right?
We have the park down by you still, the performance park still.
So what do you got for Public Works?
Just
I
really quick,
don't know,
Mark.
I don't know what to do with Public Works.
With the marina at the north, Mark and I had a meeting with Lehigh City the other day, and Lehigh was looking to maybe try and do a small marina on the north. They may be interested in partnering with us to make that a bigger regional marina.
okay.
We'll let them put their name on that Facebook for
No, we won't.
Anyways, just throw that out as part of the,
Joint marina.
Well, I mean, if it,
If
yeah,
it's joint, yeah.
yeah, joint one,
because
but
they're
it'd
not
be.
getting a marina.
No,
The
no,
Utah Lake
I
wouldn't
think
give
anything
them
we
another
can do to make, I mean, because the state park down in the Provo area is a fairly substantial marina. They have the ability to house
Dock boats.
large sailboats and large dock boats, where we don't really have that yet. I would love to see our North Marina be that. I would love to see our dinner boat, our historic dinner boat come back, right? How cool would that be to have a dinner cruise?
We had that.
I mean, obviously, that
really?
would be.
The city
Oh,
of
it would be
Saratoga
fun.
Springs, that's
Don't be
part of our
looking like
history.
crabby pants.
I get motion sickness.
Hey,
Food and water do not go together.
if you're on the August cruise and you get sick, just jump out. It's only 4 feet deep.
Yeah.
Walk
So
back to
historically, on the on Utah Lake, there was a dinner boat, a dinner cruise that would go out, and it would go to the different places on the lake, and they also had, dances off the
There's a paddle boat,
lake shore. There's a, one of them was a paddle
One of
boat,
them was a
one was
paddle
just
boat.
like a flat.
Could the paddle boats do better in shallow water?
Yeah, so, because it allows for a more shallow draft. Anyway, so it's pretty cool to think about the possibilities of kind of tying back into our history. We don't have a lot of history of being a young city, but we do have some history out
We
there that we
actually
can
have
tie
some
into.
good history.
We have some great history, so I'd love to tie into it. Anyway,
Great. Oh, what else?
sorry, we jumped over.
Yeah, we'll go
Public
back.
Works,
We'll go
didn't we?
back- We'll go back to Public Works. What do
Yeah.
you need?
Trees around it.
You're talking about the field in the back, basically?
Well, so if you remember, part of the land trade that we're going to do is going to get, D.R. Horton's going to give us the land that in this scenario is to the west of the building that will basically square up with the back of that property. So you got to remember that rectangle is going to be coming, and so basically where our infrastructure currently is going to shift towards the back of the site. And so we do have the ability to expand in more towards the front of that site. So again, the building we're building is great, but it's for Public Works for a city of 30,000 people. So ultimately, if we do need to expand this site with a larger facility, one thing that we definitely need to do is we definitely need to contemplate more barns, more storage area, more indoor storage, and that's probably going to be something more like a flex space building, which would be concrete stand walls kind of thing. We were able to utilize the existing horse barn for this. I don't recommend that that's necessarily the structures that we continue to build, but as we think of the perimeter of this, imagine, a much more, maybe in the next phase of Public Works expansion, we come to the west and the building goes 2 stories high, and it kind of starts to shield the backside of this. Imagine, if you would, some concrete, large concrete warehouse-type buildings where we can then start to move more of our stuff inside. Again, currently the site is repurposed horse barns, repurposed sheds, repurposed.
Saved a lot of money doing that.
Right, and it's been great, but I'm not sure that's going to be our build-out condition, but those are the kinds of things that we can plan for this.
Well, I think 2 things that we need to think of is civic events. So the Parks group is going to have a lot of their stuff over at Patriot Park and a lot of their storage, I think, over in that area.
But actually, that's going to be for that park alone, because if you remember, you directed us to have kind of standalone equipment so that we weren't
All
cross-contaminated
the
That's
stuff.
equipment is still out
So we
here.
still have the other
So we
parks.
would need park
Everything else
stuff
is
here. But the other thing is really like for our maintenance program for our fleet, we've talked about possibly partnering with Eagle Mountain or Lehigh or whomever to really make a really nice fleet facility that we can have a mechanic on duty, so we're not paying astronomical prices for contract work, that we can have some of that taken care of in-house where it's a little bit less expensive. So I think that's something we want to look at.
There's space here.
And then civic events, I know that they're always asking, they need someplace to kind of get their float
Well, not just their float, but
safe,
all
but
other stuff.
all of their
man.
other stuff that they have too, for staging.
You really, I mean, in my opinion, you really need to talk to Jeremy and.
Right. I was,
They know what.
Absolutely.
that was my next stop.
We know how to dream about, what the city,
Looks like.
campus is gonna look like and the libraries and
But
stuff
they
like
know
that.
what this should look
I don't
like.
know
Yeah.
what we need as far as.
But I can tell one thing they need to do here. They need to get along Saratoga Road, start planting now big trees
Okay.
so that it hides a not-so-pretty facility.
Well, and once we figure
From
out
the
where the
public.
alignment of the other road will be,
Yeah.
likewise.
So about where, you see where that green square is?
Yeah.
That theoretically would have a road half width on our side and half width on the county side, and the western edge, and it would come down, and so that would connect up towards Pioneer Crossing. But again, to your point, Shelley, I think if we contemplated a large flex space building that had partitions, so you could partition off, special events, so that you could have the mechanic shop, so that you could have the Public Works additional storage. I think if we were to contemplate those kinds of structures, that ultimately might be what is on this type of a site.
I think at the entrance too, if we get the marquee signs or that to match what we're going to do at City Hall.
Sure.
So it looks like it's part of our campus versus just a
Yeah.
And I
glossy
just-
sign that we've got.
I agree with what Councilman Montgomery was saying, either, whether it's planting trees or making sure that if we're gonna have buildings along that at least that facade is
That
more
we're doing we're
attractive.
matching our own four-sided architecture.
That we don't line up, all of the little square windows in a row.
And these buildings obviously don't have to match the rest of the city campus. That's a little
Right.
outrageous.
No, these should be boxes.
They should definitely be
Right.
utilitarian.
Warehouse-type.
Utilitarian buildings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
Well, and again,
But the sooner you can
But
plant the
yes.
trees, the better.
front of house is going to shift to the west side because that's where the frontage is. The road that goes into the back is going to get taken out with D.R. Horton's later phases of development. So again, to your point, Councilmember Comber, some trees and large vegetation there is going to go well, as will fencing, and then there's going to be other product between that and the future Pony Express expansion. So we're going to start to kind of shift that site a little bit, and as we grow and as we, develop over time.
To Mayor Miller's point, I like the idea of the monument, like keeping it consistent. We don't want to be ashamed because we're proud of our Public Works Department.
Oh, yeah.
You want to hide it, but then you have a nice entrance so that people still know that this is part of the city
Yeah,
facilities.
no, yeah, we're
Yeah.
proud of them, we just don't necessarily.
want to seed.
We don't want them to be the.
They're not the
gonna be
prettiest.
place.
we don't want to see them?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
Pretty much.
The sewer truck's not the
I can tell you that the landowners that live there.
You like
would be
the
very
sewer, Mark?
appreciative. The current homeowners that are there that'll probably eventually sell anyway, that have been here longer than all of us, would appreciate us doing a little effort there.
So I had a quick question going back to the city campus. Were we gonna move our splash days there and our Christmas tree lighting, those kind of events to?
I don't
the new campus?
think so.
No, I think
I
that's,
say we
Christmas
keep
trees.
using all of our,
We're already 20 years into our Christmas.
that Christmas tree's looking good.
Yeah.
It's gotten big.
I don't think we're willing to look at that much.
Steven
Move
said
it to
move
the
to
Public Works building.
okay.
The Festivus pole.
Okay, great feedback.
Marina?
All right, the Marina Park,
Yeah.
docks, the dinner cruise.
We really
We
want
also talked
commercial.
about having some commercial there on the, yeah, like that.
In that red
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah,
Given the short time frame before our retreat, I'm more interested in the
city
first parts we talked about.
Yeah.
If this gets put on hold,
okay.
so we can
The city
vet out
campus.
if
So the
we.
priority, yeah,
Yeah,
priority
that
one
way
is
we can
this.
also vet out if Lehigh City, we want to do something partner and make a
Yep.
regional one before we start putting money and time into something
The
else.
city council and Inlet Park area, that whole area
Okay.
there.
Yeah.
All right.
And then just to the, I'm now turned around
Yeah,
backwards.
it's now
'cause
turned,
that's-
so yeah, you're right. The left is,
On
the left is
On the left
east.
side, how's that, on the east side, sorry, is also where we were talking about with the FFSL, Forestry, Fire, and State Lands, land over there where they.
Okay. They could
It's
potentially
gonna be open
expand.
in perpetuity, but we could maybe do some recreational things with it.
We can tie in with them.
Maybe Mark, see, we're doing a joint meeting with Eagle Mountain, see if we can get one with Lehigh to discuss this, if they're interested.
I love the idea of doing a partnership.
I see the amphitheater, and I'm assuming that's some of the other hot pots or something, but
We don't need an amphitheater here.
It's,
what's that?
Yeah.
What's
the
target?
bullseye,
Yeah, what's the bullseye?
it's the Dark Skies Amphitheater.
Oh,
We don't need an amphitheater here because we have it located elsewhere in the city, a
Okay.
very large amphitheater.
Okay, this is really early, a long time
I'm just
ago.
wondering what ideas
Yeah,
you
I was trying to figure out some early programming, so
Yeah.
we'll make sure that this
Yeah.
is the right thing.
As
So the
far as
dark
like,
sky, they just higher walls to block out. ambient
Actually,
light?
they're kind of cool. There's,
what it is.
it's concrete seating that's tilted back so that they have
can
like
see the
discussions of stars and,
Like a.
It's like, yeah.
Laser dome.
yeah, you almost lay down. It's
Flexion
almost like
area.
you're laying down. And, it's dark out here. It's really dark.
as far as, so I think this is gonna be more, boat and lake and everything else oriented like that,
More
water oriented.
aquatic.
So like the soccer fields, we'll leave that over to the sports complex side. I
That
don't think we really
was
wanna-
just to represent scale.
Yeah,
So-
oh, to scale, okay.
Yeah, to show you how much space you do have there.
There's quite a bit.
Greg, could
A
you go
lot.
back one picture?
Yep.
One thing that I want to point out, you see how there's that kind of gray area, which right now is currently Phragmite and other things? I mean, theoretically, if you wanted to make this a really large marina, if you're dreaming big, you could dredge all this out and you could recreate a marina that is
Much larger.
visualizing this vastly different. This would have limited capacity, it would be a smaller scale marina. But theoretically, all of that grayed out area could be dredged out and that could become beaches, it could become
bigger
an extension of the marina. There's,
point of
Where
Yeah.
Lehigh's was going to work with the state to get a marina more towards American Fork, if we can do something big here.
right.
I think it's just a better draw. We can get the bigger boats in, we can get,
Well, it's a great location because it
great for
borders
both
both of our
cities.
cities. I mean, literally Lehigh is 200 feet one way and that's in our city, right? So I think it's a great idea. I think Lehigh would be rather start with something that's there than have to start from scratch.
Well,
yeah, they seemed
many
amenable,
lines, it's easier.
the ones I've talked to so far.
It makes sense. And then we can make something grand and cool.
Yep.
So Greg, you got your marching orders for next
I
week?
do. I appreciate your input.
Okay.
Very, very helpful. Excited to show you what we come up with.
Our font has to be at least 2 points bigger.
It is
North-
just different names, maybe.
Leave it as North Shore Marina.
Yeah.
Okay, we
Thank
will
you.
move on. Thank you for the time. Okay, we've got city council policy meeting. I'll call this meeting to order at 6:41 PM, Tuesday, May 7th, 2019. Present tonight, I have Councilman Porter, Councilwoman Barch, Councilman McComber, Councilman Podesta, and Councilman Wilden is joining us electronically. We are working on new equipment. I understand it was scheduled, but some stuff got delayed, so we will have that for future. Councilman Podesta, will you give us our invocation? And Councilman McComber lead us in our pledge?
Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for this beautiful day to meet together as a city. We ask Thee to please bless us with Thy Spirit to help us to discuss the things that are on the agenda tonight, and be able to be aware of those things that will best benefit the residents and all those that visit our city. We thank Thee for this opportunity to meet here and have this facility to meet in. And this we say in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Will the audience please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Okay, public input. Time has been set aside for the public to express ideas, concerns, and comments for subject matters not listed on the agenda. As a reminder, please be respectful in your comments. Please state your name and address for the record. Please avoid repetitive comments, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. I believe Dave's got the timer. Is anybody here for public input? Seeing none, I will close the public input and move on to the reports. Just one thing to add to that is Randy Loxienda, that was with the library when we originally started it. He was just saying he would like to volunteer when we get ready to design library. He's been working with a lot of communities on how to make library space usable and of value versus just space. He's been doing some studies with Harvard's law library and Harvard's libraries team, and he'd like to share that with us to make sure it's done right. Randy, I'll give it to you later. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get it to you. We'll get you this.
My mind goes blank now that I'm sitting up here.
Got it. Thanks, Mayor.
Okay. Okay, City Council, Councilwoman Barch.
Yes. So Mayor and Council, I would love to introduce you two of the wonderful young residents of our city. If we can get Amelia and Jocelyn. So this is Amelia Semper and Jocelyn Millington. Ladies, want to come up? I'll come down here. Can I come down here and do this?
No,
Yes.
of course you can't. Hobble go. She's moving.
Can you twist Wilden's mobile eye?
I don't know if we did. Okay, come on. Okay, so this is Amelia Semper and Jocelyn Millington. So these are students from Vista Heights Middle School, and they participated recently in the Utah History Day competition. So out of 6,300 regional students that participated in this, and 512, I believe it was, students that participated in the state competition, is that right? Probably thereabouts, okay. They won the Triumph and Tragedy project, and with their Triumph and Tragedy project, and they are going to the national competition. This is the first time that any students from our school have ever gone to the state, much less the national competition, I believe.
They've gone to
Just the national, they have gone to state before? Okay. So this is pretty amazing that they've done. So I just wanted to introduce you to them. Not only did they win that, they also won the Outstanding Projects Featuring Medical History Award, along with winning the state competition. So I just wanted to congratulate them. I wanted to have them really quickly tell me, so first of all, what was your project titled?
It's called The Modern Reach of Henrietta Lacks.
Okay, and who is Henrietta Lacks?
She was a poor black woman who lived in the mid-1900s, and she died from cervical cancer, but during one of her treatments, a doctor took a sample of her cells, and they turned out to be the first human cells that were able to be kept alive in a culture, and many cures have been able to come from testing on her cells.
Yeah, some of those cures included what?
Like polio, tuberculosis, leukemia, different cures for cancer and stuff. Like,
Very good. So these girls, so interestingly enough, Alpine School District, I know, they are. So interestingly enough, Alpine School District does help with the regional, obviously the school and the regional competitions. They do not, however, help with the national competition, getting there. So just so you are aware, they do have a GoFundMe page, and I wanted all of the residents out that are going to watch this on YouTube to know about their GoFundMe page. I'll also put a link on my page about that. Yes, so I'll forward that to all of you. And it's called, and I didn't get the forward, so it's Got kind of a longer name. Yeah, the title of it.
National History Day.
Yeah, National-
Henrietta Lacks.
Yeah, National History Day at Henrietta Lacks GoFundMe. So anyway, I'll get that on my page and I'll forward it to you so you can do that as well. I think this is just a phenomenal thing that these young ladies have done, and so I just wanted
I'm
to
pretty
congratulate
confident
them.
we can get the community to help big time.
Yeah.
There's some great PTA pages, because you can actually fund, raise off of a PTA.
It is our understanding we cannot use PTA.
Oh.
Because we cannot be affiliated with Vista Heights, or the school district. They are completely hands-off.
Wow.
At the national level. That's
But
why
the
we're,
PTA is not
No.
Alpine School District.
we were told
Okay.
as a principal that we're not to do that. That's
Well-
why we're in this.
All fairness, our own marching band didn't march in our parade. Our own marching band didn't march in our parade. So,
Westlake doesn't march.
Very good. Anyway, so I just wanted to say congratulations. So thank you, ladies, so much. We really appreciate it.
We'll get you good exposure.
Yes. Be great. Thank you.
okay,
Our future is bright right there.
That's right.
Councilman Porter.
Quick question there.
Yes.
If they would like.
If
Sure.
you want a parade entry, I'm sure we can arrange that.
We will make it happen. Excellent.
We'll let you guys discuss.
Wait, the youth involved, if you don't want to, we can say no.
But her dad votes, so,
Yeah.
okay.
We'll get you, Even the other kids maybe who competed from Vista Heights that they didn't place, they can maybe be in the parade with you too. That's the smart way. Make it less focus on you.
Okay, Councilman Porter.
All right, well, mine is not nearly as exciting or interesting. I was contacted by a few residents. They have some concerns with some of the trees in Pinnacle Park that appear to have died. And I know that we're getting close to the warranty period, or we may have exceeded it. I just thought I would,
Pinnacle.
thought I would bring that up. I know that our parks guys are really good about getting out there and checking on it. Just wanted to make sure that they're aware, so.
Okay. Councilman Podeska.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention the ULCT conference that Councilman Porter, Councilwoman Barch, and myself were able to attend. Was it 2 weekends ago? Yeah. So there's a couple things that, I mean, overall though, it seemed like they had the least amount of the kind of breakout sessions as they had in past. But they had some good ones. One in particular was the legalization of medical marijuana and CBD, as that's kind of gaining popularity throughout the state and so forth. And they had, it was its Utah Department of Health over that area come and speak. And so I guess it's good in the standpoint of seeing like how much thought and preparation is going into it at the state level. As far as the regulation and so forth. So anyway, just want to report on that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anything from?
I don't have anything today.
Oh, from Mark?
Mayor and Council, if it's okay, I will follow up with you at the retreat with our ongoing list of items. I've got that as a topic for us to follow up on.
Perfect. Okay, public hearing. Oh, okay. Man.
So obviously, I want it on the record that the application for the temple site came in, and it is on the record, and so now we can call it the temple location in the middle of the city, basically next to the Saratoga Hills and Benches. I personally am volunteering to have any special meeting that might need to happen to occur, so we can expedite that process, and we will not be hindering the development and advancing of their efforts. And
then
I'm happy
Facebook
to
wouldn't be
attend at
correct.
any time that the city wants me to attend. I will attend to help make sure that project moves along, because on Facebook it says that I am the devil who's keeping the temple from coming to Saratoga Springs. So I would like to put that on the record that I'm happy to attend whenever, now that there is an actual application to discuss. Thank you.
Nice, very nice.
So, yeah, so I mean, basically happy to attend whenever there needs to be in a meeting to be attended.
Okay, it's fitting you wore a black shirt tonight.
It's over by the junior high.
North of.
No, it's west of the junior high.
The new junior.
West of New Junior High.
You'll see like a little bluff out there. If you come out of the Saratoga Springs development, look straight ahead, and that's what it'll be.
Okay, public hearing, fiscal year 2019-2020 budget.
I had to do that because we were so. Did you see what they called us?
There's no new information. From the tentative budget that was presented earlier, this is simply just to bring the budget for a public hearing 2 weeks before when you guys would vote to approve it. So there won't be any action taken on it tonight. It's simply to open it up for a public hearing comment and then to answer and respond to any questions that you guys might have.
Okay. I'll open up the public hearing and then we can get to any comments. Is anybody here for the public hearing of the fiscal year 2019-2020 budget? If you are, please state your name and address for the record. Please avoid repetitive comments. Please be respectful in your comments and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Is anybody here for the public hearing on the budget? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing. And are there any questions from the council? Councilman McComber?
I don't have any questions at this time. I will have plenty of opportunity to discuss it as we move along, as this is the initial introduction of the budget. Mark, I would like to schedule some time to maybe come in just one-on-one, or you can bring in other staff, of course, but I just want to go through and work through a lot of the questions that I think we can save time in this. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Seeing no other comments, thank you for your time, and we'll see you in a couple weeks. Look at all that. You got dressed up for that.
But you got to see all the fun conversation around city campus.
Okay, business items. Mark's favorite topic, the 2019 Gravity Sewer Project. Oh, Jeremy.
Mayor and Council, this item is for a contract amendment with Nolan Construction. There is that next phase of the project that we haven't put out to bid yet that goes through the golf course. There was a section of that project that goes underneath the Talons Cove townhomes, and they are under construction, and therefore we are unable to wait with the rest of the project, which is going out to bid this winter, because we don't want to do the golf course construction until the winter, but we can't wait. If we wait, obviously, on the Peace Center Talons Ridge townhomes, they'll have buildings built, a playground built. So this is going to get that portion done in advance of the rest of the project.
I think this makes sense. Is there any?
I love that we think ahead.
Councilman Podesta?
Yeah, I did just have one question. So you said they're under construction. Is it going to delay or prohibit them from
Nope.
their
We've coordinated with
schedule?
them. They're actually starting construction from the west side to the east side. Our section is on the far east side. So we're not going to hold them up. That's the goal, is getting out fast. So they haven't installed the playground yet. They haven't installed the buildings. They're starting at the west side. Our goal is to be in and out before they ever get to that east side of the development.
Okay. Yeah, I love it.
Perfect. Porter?
Since Councilman Wilden is on the phone and it's difficult to talk, I know, on that, I just thought for his benefit, I'd ask Mark if he had anything, since this is about sewer.
Okay. With that, I will entertain a motion. I'll entertain a motion, Councilman Wilden, if you're interested.
Sewers, that's an inside joke.
I'll move to prove that I'm here, that we approve business item 1, resolution RMF, coordinated today.
Okay, I have a first from Councilman Wilden. I have a second from Councilman Beelzebub.
I love it. Please.
Councilman McComber, any further discussion?
I love it.
Okay. Wilden?
Did you say aye, Wilden?
Oh, aye.
Podesta?
Aye.
McComber?
Aye.
Aye.
Barch? Porter? Aye. Motion passes unanimously.
Little cutouts of ourselves.
Okay, the Willow Glen reimbursement agreement, UDemand Incorporated. Is this your company, Wilden?
Literally, the company's name is You Demand.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is that?
Mayor and Council, this is the Willow Glen reimbursement agreement. You had us working on
Yeah.
kind of getting that approved. We tabled it a couple meetings ago. We're ready to move forward with it. Again, these projects are within the IFFP, and so the reimbursement agreements, we're going to reimburse them for anything that would be outside of credits they would utilize for this project.
Okay. Any discussion on it? Councilman Porter?
I move that we approve, did we already do that?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just ready to vote. All right. I move that we approve the Willow Glen reimbursement agreement, U-Demand Inc., LLC, Resolution R19-18, dated today.
You just wanted to say you demand again.
Okay, I have a first from
I second.
Councilman Porter, a second from Councilman Podeska. Any further discussion on the motion? Councilman Porter?
Aye.
Barch?
Aye.
McComber?
Aye.
Podeska?
Aye.
Wilden?
Oh, we got some more guests.
Motion passes unanimously. We have the minutes from April 16th, 2019.
I move to approve the minutes from April 16th, 2019.
With the submitted changes.
Oh, with the submitted changes.
I'll
that's right.
second.
Okay, I have a first from Councilman Podeska, a second from Councilman McComber. Any further discussion? Porter? Aye. Barch?
Aye.
McComber?
Aye.
Podeska?
Aye.
Wilden? Motion passes unanimously.
We have some guests.
We do have
Okay.
closed session.
We have guests
We have
still, I
guests.
think.
We have some guests. If you guys would like to come up.
You look like you're wanting to talk to us, so. Just,
Yeah,
Dave, turn the camera.
again. There's one eye.
If you want to,
Is it on? It's on. You can lower it, yeah.
Perfect. Hi, I'm Bailey Whitehead, and I'm the rodeo queen for Pony Express, for Pony Express Days. And we just wanted to come and actually, you can. My name's Janessa Sullivan, and I'm the second attendant.
I'm Carissa Nastrom, and I'm the princess.
My name is Peyton Anderson, and I'm the first attendant. And anyways, we just wanted to invite you guys to some of our events that we're having over Pony Express Days. And the first one that we're having is a rodeo coming up. It's May 24th, 25th, and 27th. And it's at 7 o'clock. And on May 25th, which is the Saturday, at 1 p.m., we're having our Mascot Miracles Rodeo. So just wanted to invite you to that. On June 1st, we will have our Pony Express Parade at 10 a.m. That night is the Demolition Derby, which starts at 7 p.m., but the pre-show starts at 6:30. We have these tickets for you.
okay. If you just want to get them to Owen, he can.
He'll pass them out.
Or charges.
We're missing DJ tonight.
On July 4th, we have a country concert at 7 o'clock, and there's firework.
On July 13th, it's the Enduro Cross at 7 p.m. And we have some treats for all of you guys.
You won me over with that.
Jeremy will take care of that for you, right?
Not worthy.
You just hand them to Owen also.
Let's get to Owen.
We'd love to see you there. Thank you for your
Thank you.
time.
And I'm sure all those dates are on your website, right? The
Yeah.
city website. Yeah,
Perfect.
that'd be great. I
Thank
usually
you.
come and do a couple things. I come out to your rodeo days. It's fun.
It's a lot of fun.
No,
And you're welcome to come to our splash days, which is the next week. So,
All right, perfect.
yep.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Chris won't even have to change when he gets out of bed to go.
You know your phone's not muted, right? Okay, we have closed session?
We do.
Mayor,
Okay.
can I just wanted to give a quick update on a question that came up on the pinnacle trees. I was just texting our parks supervisor, Rick. He said those are actually oak trees, and they are not dead. They just, the trees that look dead at Pinnacle are oak trees. They are alive. They have a late leaf turnout. In return, they hang on to their leaves later in the fall. If you look closely, you can see them budding out.
All right.
Okay.
I will pass that along to my neighbors.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'll move to go into closed session.
I have a first from Councilman McComber, second Councilwoman Barch. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. We'll have a short 5-minute break.